Welcome to part 2 of early signs of Asperger's. In the first video, we looked at my sensory sensitivities as a child, my uncommon interests that were a bit different to the other kids around me, as well as my learning styles and how that affected me at school. This week, we're looking at how all of those came together to form an array of social challenges. So if you haven't already seen part 1, you can check that out here. Okay, so finally, all these differences in sensory sensitivities and my learning style and what I found interesting, they all led to challenges trying to relate to the other kids my age. I remember my first year in kindergarten being 3 years old and actually thinking, how do I play with these other kids? What do I need to do? How do I figure out how to do this? And I was actually trying to solve this problem at an intellectual level. So they were playing this game and it was called King of the Castle, and how it would work is they would climb up the play equipment, and anyone who tried to climb up, they would basically stop them climbing up and say, I'm the king of the castle and you're the dirty rascal. And I didn't know really how to engage with this game because I would try and climb up and they'd push me down, and that seemed to be how the game worked. So I thought, okay, well, clearly it's just the first one up there gets to be that role in the game. So one day I was on the ball, and as soon as we got let out, I ran out and climbed up, and I was the first one up there. And then another little girl tried to climb up, and I pushed her down and said, I'm the king of the castle and you're the dirty rascal. And then she fell down and started crying, and I got in trouble, and I thought, wow, this is hard. Why is trying to play with the other kids so hard? What am I supposed to do? What am I missing here? This is just not working. Anyway, so that was my experience at 3 years old. I remember my very first play date when I was about 5 in primary school, and my mother had arranged to have a different person pick me up from school, and I would go home with another boy in my class, and we would spend an hour or so after school, and she'd pick me up at 5 p.m. and I thought, 5 p.m, school finishes at 3:30 and we're going to go till 5 p.m. What on earth are we going to do for an hour and a half, just the two of us? How is that going to work? I've got no idea how that was going to work, and I had quite a bit of anxiety around that. But anyway, it just happened, and it actually worked really well. It turns out my social skills when it's one-on-one are actually pretty good. It's the group stuff that is always throwing me. So we had a great time, and 5 o'clock came before we knew it, and I went home and I was really excited and really happy because it just worked. And I have no idea how it worked, but it just worked. Another problem that was obvious in primary school is that often we needed to line up in pairs, like before we go into class or after recess or things like that. And because I never had a partner to line up with, I was always at the back of the line. Even if I was the very first one there before anyone else when the bell rang after recess, one by one, others would come and they would have a buddy, and I wouldn't have a buddy, and I would end up at the back, and I just didn't know how to find a buddy. Who was going to teach me how to find a buddy? And this was really significant and really memorable. So much so that I remember in grade 3, I had a different teacher, a teacher that I really, he just did things a bit differently, and I really liked him. And he introduced us to the system of just filing in. So if there's a gap, you fill the gap. You don't wait to find a buddy, you just fill the gap. If there's one person in front of you and you come and you're the last one on the line, you stand next to the last person in the line, and it all just works. And this was amazing because what it meant was that I wasn't the last person in the line. For the first time in my entire life, I wasn't the last person in the line. So that was a huge day for me when that happened. Another frustration I never quite worked out trying to play with the other kids in primary school is that they would make up the rules as we went along. And kind of in hindsight, it kind of makes sense. You're going to play a game, it's a creative game, you're going to make up the rules as a group as you go along. But the unfair thing was that they would make the rules and I would never be able to make any rules. And why do your rules get to stick and my rules get ignored? And I never quite figured out what is the process there. I thought these were the rules, and now you're changing the rules, and that's not fair. When I change I'm not allowed to change the rules. Why are you allowed to change the rules? But in a group, for some reason, some people are allowed to change the rules and other people aren't. And I never really got that social dynamic of how that was supposed to work. Okay, so maybe we'll leave it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed these pictures. These have been just a handful of little anecdotes from my childhood that will hopefully give you a little bit of a sense of what I was like back then and some of the things that I was struggling with and some of the early signs that I was on the autism spectrum. So thank you to the Patreon community for voting for this video. If you would like to have your say in next month's Patron's Choice video, you can join our Patreon family, become a supporter of this channel for less than $1 a week. So that's a fun little community. We've got our own private Facebook group to keep in touch. We all met online the other day, which was really fun, meeting people from all over the world. So if you want to become a part of that, please check out the Patreon link here. Otherwise, I will see you next week for another video from Aspergers from the Inside. Thanks, bye.